Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating, the foundations of wealth and global health equity. We're going to look at the intricate and honestly often completely hidden blueprint of how our personal finances directly wire into our global health outcomes. You know, we usually think of wealth and health as two totally separate conversations, right? Like, one is a chat you have with your financial planner, and the other is a sit-down with your doctor. But as we'll see today by digging into some incredible data, these two worlds are actually completely inseparable. It's like a giant puzzle where every piece of your financial life connects to your physical well-being.
So, what if your health and wealth were determined before you were even born? Just let that sink in for a second. It's a pretty heavy question. I want you to think of personal finance and health equity kind of like a massive iceberg. Your daily wallet, the cash you use for coffee or your weekly groceries, that's literally just the visible tip of the iceberg. But underneath the surface, there's this massive, complex structural system of generational wealth, systemic advantages, and social determinants that are silently dictating the trajectory of our lives. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The pillars of wealth. 2. The financial literacy gap. 3. Hidden accelerators of wealth. 4. Social determinants of health. And 5. Bridging the health divide.
Section 1. The pillars of wealth. Now, according to the experts over at McKee Financial and Brown Miller Wealth Management, building wealth doesn't just happen by accident. And it definitely isn't magic. It relies on 5 really essential steps. First up, develop income streams. High net worth individuals almost always have multiple sources of income, from their primary job to investments or maybe real estate. Second, save consistently to build a buffer. Third, invest to capture compound interest. As Brown Miller points out, investing even a small amount consistently over decades can yield incredible returns compared to just letting cash sit there. Fourth, improve your financial literacy. And fifth, work with a professional to navigate all those complex decisions. These 5 pillars, they form the absolute bedrock of financial stability.
$2,000. Just $2,000. Vanguard conducted this massive survey of over 12,000 investors, and they found that having just this specific amount in emergency savings is literally the single strongest predictor of financial well-being. Hitting this relatively small $2,000 buffer boosts your overall financial well-being by a staggering 21%. Furthermore, Vanguard found that people without this safety net spend double the amount of time distracted by financial stress at work. So it's not just about the money, right? It's fundamentally about your peace of mind.
Now, on the flip side of saving is debt. Your debt-to-income, or DTI ratio, is basically a metric comparing your monthly required loan payments to your actual earnings. As Charles Schwab points out, lenders use this to evaluate your borrowing risk. But beyond just, getting a mortgage, I really want you to consider what this means for your own day-to-day flexibility. A high DTI ratio is basically an invisible leash. It severely limits how easily you can handle surprise expenses or jump on new opportunities. Lowering your DTI is a crucial, unavoidable step to unlocking real financial freedom.
Section 2. The financial literacy gap.
So, a study published in the National Institutes of Health repository actually isolated the causal effects of financial literacy on wealth. And we aren't just talking about general schooling here. We're talking about specific financial knowledge. They found that even a minor increase in a person's financial literacy score directly raised their household wealth by an average of $13,800. Let's break that down. That's a $5,200 boost in pension wealth, $1,600 in housing wealth, and $6,900 in other wealth. Simply knowing how money works literally pays off above and beyond your regular education.
Section 3. Hidden accelerators of wealth.
To really grasp the wealth gap, you have to look at these numbers from CBS News, which pulled from the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances. In 2022, the median net worth for homeowners was nearly $400,000. For renters, just over $10,000. Wow. That is a massive, totally life-altering financial gap. Homeownership acts as this incredible forced savings mechanism and historically provides appreciation that simply cannot be matched by renting.
But of course, just buying a house isn't the whole story. Habitat for Humanity outlines the key factors required for actually building equity once a home is purchased, which is especially vital for low-income households. First, you absolutely need affordable financing with fair interest rates. Second, you have to be able to sustain that homeownership long enough to weather market fluctuations and recoup your transaction costs. And third, you need to purchase in areas with appreciating values. So it's a pretty complex formula, and one that relies really heavily on systemic support.
Which brings us to this profound point reported by CBS News from economist Max Risch. Even if children grow up to earn about the same amount as adults, those with wealthier parents have higher homeownership rates and more valuable homes when they do own homes. This transitions our narrative perfectly, right? It moves us from talking purely about individual effort over to the structural realities of generational advantage. The bank of mom and dad providing a down payment can entirely dictate your wealth trajectory, completely regardless of your own personal income.
Section 4. Social determinants of health.
The World Health Organization defines the social determinants of health as the conditions in which people are born, grow, work, live, and age. But here is the critical part. These conditions are shaped by the distribution of money, power, and resources. So the crucial point is that those pillars of wealth, that financial literacy, and that generational homeownership advantage we just talked about, they aren't just giving people nicer cars or bigger TVs. They are fundamentally dictating human health and longevity. Data compiled jointly by the OECD and the European Commission reveals a truly striking reality across the European Union. At age 30, people with a low level of education can, on average, expect to live 6 to 8 years less than the most educated. 8 years! That is nearly an entire decade of human life lost, simply based on educational and socioeconomic status. It completely humanizes the data. It shows us that financial and educational inequalities are quite literally matters of life and death.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real financial strain of navigating health systems. Across the EU, while 75% of health spending is publicly financed, 18% is still paid out of pocket by citizens. Now, while that might sound perfectly manageable if you have that Vanguard recommended $2,000 emergency fund, an 18% out-of-pocket expenditure creates severe, compounding financial problems for poor households. When health systems require out-of-pocket cash, those without wealth simply delay their care, or they fall even deeper into poverty.
Diving even deeper into those OECD findings, the disparities become starkly clear. 80% of those in the highest income bracket report being in good health, compared to only 60% in the lowest bracket. And look at this. Obesity rates sit at 20% for those with lower education versus 12% for higher education. I really want you to consider how your own zip code, your education, and your income bracket might be silently and visibly influencing your daily health outcomes right this very second.
Section 5. Bridging the Health Divide. So how do we start to fix this? The World Health Organization's Commission on Social Determinants of Health impartially lays out 3 main recommendations for public policy. First, improve the conditions of daily life, the literal circumstances where people live and work. Second, tackle the inequitable distribution of power, money, and resources globally, nationally, and locally. And third, properly measure the problem and evaluate action. The core message here is that health inequalities are not just random matters of chance. They are influenced by actions, and they absolutely can be mitigated through targeted public policy that addresses resource distribution. So, I leave you with this. Can we achieve true health equity without addressing those foundational wealth gaps? Throughout this explainer, we've seen how your DTI ratio, your emergency savings, and even your parents' ability to buy a home are fundamentally linked to your life expectancy and your risk of chronic disease. They are truly inseparable. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Take a close look at your own financial pillars today and consider how they are actively building the foundation for your health tomorrow. See you next time.